Well, welcome back. You're listening to Home Wizards, and if you have any stainless steel appliances, you might feel me right now because, I don't know what it is. It's tricky.
It's
they
tricky.
Scratch.
I know. They scratch, and you're never sure if you're supposed to go with the grain or you're supposed to use a cloth or you're supposed to use the spray or there's so many different ideas out there, right?
So anyway, Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole, you're listening to Home Wizards, and thought we would just kind of put it to rest to help you deal with stainless steel, because it's so beautiful to have a great stainless steel appliance. But I got to tell you, my stove is like, I feel like I'm walking on eggshells. It doesn't take much, and all of a sudden I've scratched it, and I'm doing everything. You Google it, and you try to be very, very gentle. I'm now using microfiber rags.
Right.
And supposedly that's better than a paper towel because of the paper fibers can scratch. And even like if you used a sheet, an old sheet, or even a T-shirt, apparently that can scratch. I mean, it's really kind of ridiculous.
Now here, I will say that they can buff out scratches in stainless if you use, an abrasive. You can use steel wool, and it's gonna change
the color
slightly. So you're gonna have to do a larger area, and like if it's a panel, you may have to do the whole panel, but you can buff the scratches out. So keep that in mind.
Yeah. But still, it drives me nuts because I'm sure most people can't see the scratches, but I just obsess and see it. And especially if someone else has made the scratch, then I'm even more mad because I'm like, well, at least...
Well, then you're scapegoating. And then you go, you know what? Doggone her. How could she come and do that?
Him. Or anybody.
How could he do that? I hate him.
So anyway, let's talk about different ways. So I've fallen in love with this product. It's called the Barkeeper's Friend. Have you heard about this thing? And it looks, the container looks like it's, or like an Ajax, or, it's a powder, if you will.
Yeah.
But what it is, it almost feels like it's so gentle. They even say on the side of it that it's gentle enough for all different kinds of things and won't scratch. It gets the tough stains, but it almost comes out like baking powder or baking soda. And you put a little bit of that on with some warm water and maybe even add a little bit of vinegar, and then you let it sit, and it kind of breaks down whatever. Like if you have
and you're putting that on the stainless steel or on your rag?
I'm putting this on the stainless steel. I put like a little bit of the Barkeeper's Friend with some warm water, and then I just let that sit on my cooktop where it needs to be cleaned, and then I use a microfiber rag, and I gently then clean it away, and I think it's pretty darn good.
Yeah.
It's but still. I mean, what do you like? I mean, it seems...
I've been using Wyman.
What?
It's called Wyman. It's a product called Wyman, and I think it's the best, personally.
Okay. What's it like?
It's just a cleaner stainless steel.
Is it liquid or powder?
It comes in a spray, or you can get a liquid. And, you can get it at most of the, most grocery stores, and it's not that expensive, but I think it's one of the better ones, personally.
Okay.
I've also used white vinegar.
Yes.
Which I think works fine. If you don't want to get into the chemicals.
And Windex actually isn't bad.
Windex works pretty good, too.
It isn't bad. And I've also, like from our refrigerator, to give it the luster, I've used just some oil.
Yeah.
But I find that the refrigerator doesn't scratch as much as the cooktop. I think
it's the cooktop really goes.
And
you almost have to, be comfortable with the idea that it's almost better to scratch it on, like take steel wool and scratch it up. Then it's like a new car. You got to get that first scratch. Once you get that one, all the other ones you don't really notice so much. But it's a utilitarian surface, and you're probably going to want to, just be comfortable with the idea that that's the cooktop. It's going to get scratched because when you clean it, there are spills. There's no way around it.
So you like the Wyman, and I'm looking at it online right now, and it's like they call it cleaner and polish, and a lot of people are saying it's one of the very best for stainless steel. But I also urge you to try this Barkeeper's Friend if you have, because sometimes on the cooktop, it's like you've cooked the stain into the stainless steel.
Exactly.
Because you didn't catch it in time. It boiled over. The sauce, that marinara sauce, it went over, and you had to have dinner because it was hot, and now you come back, and it's all crunchy and
baked on
into that
and you can't really scrape it, otherwise you're going to scratch the stainless. So you're in a quandary. I end up usually just soaking it with I put warm soapy water and let it just sit there for
on the
an hour. And then I can use my thumbnail and usually get stuff out.
Good.
But even with that, make sure you're scraping with the grain of the stainless. because you go across the grain even with your thumbnail.
And
sometimes you can scratch
it.
it.
Oh my gosh, it's such a high maintenance thing. But other things to try: club soda. If you spray club soda directly on, again, working in the direction of the grain, that helps a little bit. The bubbles,
the bubblicious stuff. Yeah.
And then I really recommend these microfiber cloths. Do you have these in your kitchen?
Yes, I do have. I don't have it in the kitchen, but I have one for my car.
Oh, you do?
Buff it out. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that makes sense then. Yeah. So it's very gentle, right?
All the really good car detailer guys use that stuff, the microfiber.
And wonder why what makes it so special? What makes it so much better than just like a T-shirt or any kind of a cloth?
I think it's got a slight bit of abrasiveness to it, but it's soft abrasiveness. It's not going to scratch.
Okay.
I think that's why.
So, all right. So, and you like vinegar, white vinegar.
Yeah, I do.
And you do apply that directly to your cloth?
I usually put it right on the cloth, or pour, like if it's a flat surface, I'll just pour it on there and let it sit too, and that'll break food down pretty effectively.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Give that a try.
Well, so let's talk about then, if we did want to have it buffed out, do we hire a professional to come and buff it out?
There are people that actually do this, and they come with buffers and all sorts of, it's almost the same thing as a auto body detailer who's, rubbing compound on your car to get the sap off. It's the same kind of an idea.
Okay.
The problem is you do have to generally do, like when I used to, install tons of kitchens as a contractor, all the time the stuff scratches when you're installing it, right? So, what you need to do is have somebody in your back pocket that comes and has the buffer machine and if you get a whole panel done with the buffer, the scratch goes away, but the whole panel's slightly different tone-wise.
Uh-huh.
So if it's around a corner of something, it's not noticeable, but if it's one right next to another,
right.
I've even had clients where, they were like, this isn't going to fly. We got to redo it. The other thing, you can replace like refrigerator panels in some of the older models and have those manufactured with new stainless. So there's a lot of ways around scratched items, and it is possible to buff it out.
Now, have you ever heard, especially for like refrigerators, which seem to be, it's kind of it's made with a little bit different chemical, I guess. I guess it has a chromium in it, and so it reacts a little bit different than maybe your stove.
Right.
But I've heard that if you put a little bit of baby oil on your stainless refrigerator and you kind of saturate the surface of a clean rag, and then you wipe the rag across the scratch.
Oh yeah, that's possible. That's like a hardwood floor sort of same kind of thing.
The crayon thing on the floor.
Yeah.
And then have you heard of that? Maybe even adding a little WD-40?
I have. I've actually used WD-40 for that.
On the refrigerator. On a dry paper towel.
Yeah.
And how does that work?
It gets you're staying with the grain, and it somehow fills in and darkens the scratch area enough so that it doesn't stand out quite so much, because the scratch is a result of, slight angles being pushed into the surface so the light catches it a certain way. Mm-hmm. And what the WD-40 does is it makes it darker and it deadens the reflection ability of the scratch so you don't notice it as much.
Now, of course, we all have seen these 3M kitchen sponge with the green tufted thing on the back.
Yeah.
And
the
scouring.
Scotch-Brite.
Scotch-Brite, yeah. And supposedly you can use that tufted part yourself to almost buff it out.
You can.
I haven't been successful. But
I've done it, and it's the same principle as using the buffer. You're just, again, you got to go with the grain, and you're probably going to have to feather the area, right? So
right. And
some
explain
of it,
what that means.
Feathering means like you don't want to do harsh lines of an area that you've worked on.
Because you'll have this little box of silver.
You want to like come out, if the scratch is an inch long, you're going to want to come out 5 inches in one area and 3 inches in another, 10 inches in another, 4 inches to the side. So it's, it's random, and you're not like making one area perfectly smooth and perfect.
Yeah, because that's going to stand out.
Feathering is like with paintbrush. You're pushing paint up so it doesn't completely cover, but just a little bit in different areas. Same idea with this.
Have you ever tried a stainless steel scratch removal kit that they sell in some of the appliance outlets and improvement stores?
No. What does it say?
Well, apparently it's a kit that comes with different colored pads indicating different levels of scratches.
Oh, okay.
And
that sounds like a good idea.
lubricant with a surface oxidant to be used following the buffing.
That's worth a try.
And it has instructions saying, again, to follow the grain, so maybe check that out, the stainless steel scratch removal kit.
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully this will help you with your very high-maintenance stainless steel appliances. Eric Stormer, Cindy Dole, we have more to talk about because this is Home Wizards.